Hiya folks. Let me double check this. Okay, it's recording. Hey folks, this is Baby Charmander, and I am here to I thought I might create a tutorial for how to draw cores, or specifically Wheatley in this video, but all cores are drawn the same as him, just with different optics. But I actually tried to record this video earlier. There was the picture I drew, but there was a bit of a problem with the recording. Anyway, just a quick disclaimer. I do not claim to be a master at drawing Wheatley. I know there are a lot of people who can draw him way better than I can, and I'm just making this video because I've seen some people out there who say like they're not really sure how to draw core Wheatley, don't know the best way to go about drawing him or whatever, or if someone just wants tips on how to draw him or whatever. And secondly, this is not what I'm about to show you is not the only way to draw Wheatley. This is just how I draw him, and you can draw him differently. This is just me hopefully showing a something that will be helpful if you want to draw this character. Anyway, so with that out of the way, I guess we can get started. This won't be an incredibly detailed thing, but I'll be showing the basics. First off, I would recommend grabbing a screenshot. You can see like a reference picture. It doesn't necessarily have to be a screenshot, but as you can see, I have a folder of them just for core. I have a folder for chassis Wheatley too. But for this video, I'll just be using this for my reference. This is not my favorite reference picture, just because it's a very bland picture of him. He's not really using any particular expression, but it's good for trying to figure out his colors, particularly for his optic and for different proportions and where his scars and dents are and stuff. Alright, so on to the drawing itself. Obviously, we're going to start with a circle, which I will draw right here. Probably going to shrink this one because it's a little huge. And I want to actually be able to fit this drawing on my, fit the drawing on the screen. So I'll shrink that a bit. I don't know why this thing is picking up my pressure sensitivity. It should not be doing that, because I have that turned off. Oh well, I'll fix that later. Okay, so now you have a circle drawn. You will want to decide where you want his body to be facing. I don't mean his face, I mean his body, because his face can be facing a different direction, like say in this picture here, where his face plate is turned slightly upward while his body is facing forward. That's just the way his body can move. Also, his I forgot to mention this in my last recording. He can sort of spin in his casing, like the upper and lower things can. Although, let's not get into that right now. That's a bit more detailed. If people find this video helpful, I might make another more detailed video showing how he works and stuff. Sorta, anyway. But anyway, for this, maybe I'll do something differently than how I did in my last recording attempt. I'll have him facing this way. The gap in his casing where his faceplate shows through is usually just a circle. So there's that. No, it's facing the same way as in the picture over here. Oh well, I'll try to make it look a little more interesting. So we have that, and next we're gonna add in his, separate out his panels. Wheatley has 4 panels that he can move when he's in the chassis, but he has the ones on the sides, the ones on the top and bottom. So we'll do the ones on his side first, and they're just kind of a circle. You don't necessarily have to do that there. That just gets erased. So there's that. And also these, if you can see, are just the top and bottom panels are just slightly beneath the upper ones, or the side ones. So I'm just gonna carve that in there. You can probably tell that that these panels are not exact. They're not exactly correct, but I'll try to get them as close as I can. Also, you might want to try to make sure that they're consistent size. That's something I tend to mess up a lot. Again, like I said, I'm not an expert at this, but I know generally how it goes. Okay, so we have his panels. Now, if you're doing this on the computer, then create a second layer. If you're drawing this traditionally, there's nothing much you can do for this, but to do the handles, I highly, highly recommend putting them on a different layer. And before you even start drawing them in detail, do stick handles. This will just give you a brief idea of what position his handles, what kind of expression he'll be having before you go into too much detail. I don't really know what expression to give him right now. I'll just do whatever. Don't be like me, actually give him an like how I am in this video. I'm just kind of stumped right now. Probably because I already did a video earlier. I already drew a picture of him. But anyway, once you have your expression decided, at least for his handles, you can just leave those for now if you want, or you can finish them. It's up to you. But we'll move on to his faceplate, and like I said, his faceplate can be facing in a different direction than his body. So to demonstrate that, I'll have him looking off to the side. His faceplate is also round. It's underneath his panels, so that's how it can look around that way. And I like to draw, even when you can't see the whole thing, I'll draw out the whole panel, or the faceplate, sorry. So that I can get his optic centered properly, because his optic is in the dead center of his faceplate. And you don't want to draw his optic too small, because then he just doesn't look right. But you don't want to draw it too big either, because if you draw his optic too big, then it looks like his faceplate is just very flimsy. Just kind of a tangent there, but alright, I have, okay, there's his optic. Ooh, that cuts off a good half of his faceplate there, but that is okay. So there is the way he is looking. Okay, then of course you want to draw his optic. I personally do not always draw the whole optic itself. I'll usually just draw like the aperture size, like there, if it's a bit smaller. But I guess for the purposes of this, I'll draw the whole thing. It's kind of a plate on its own that's underneath his faceplate, and the aperture will always be will always contract toward the center. Like here, oh gosh, I'm trying not to go into too much detail, but his optic will always be in the center of his face. His optic will always be the aperture will always contract for the center of the optic plate there. So you want to keep that centered. I guess he'll be looking surprised. But so there's that, and of course we want to draw the eye shields. Be angry. Sometimes it's kind of hard because he only has one eye. It can be a little harder to tell when he's angry or sad. Might help if I pull his handle down. Actually, I'll do that. He'll be angry for this because his handles can act as his eyebrow. Like the upper handle can act as his eyebrows. So I'll pull that out. There we go. It's a bit more clear that he's angry. Okay. Now we can kind of go into, now that we have his basic shape there, we can go a bit into the detail. Let's see. Wheatley has a little triangle right here in the edge of his face. There's a few notches there. I can't, because half of his faceplate is kind of covered. I can only show you on here. He has 3 scratches on the side here, a dent right there, and a big kind of deep scar right there. He also has a, those knobs there, and well, not knobs, the bolts or whatever they are, and the sticker on the side of his face there. And of course the Aperture logo, which I usually just represent as a circle. I'm going to add his scar here. You can kind of see the other stuff I drew from my original picture. See, there's the scratches and the dent and everything else. But back to this one. Okay, next we'll add the circle, the hole in his side right here. Don't really know what that's for. I guess just maybe to give engineers access to the insides, but it has kind of a darker rim around it. And depending on the angle you draw him at, you will be able to see, like, you can sort of see it here. I believe that is his gyroscope. And the gyroscope, the position of it, depends on the position of his faceplate, because his gyroscope is attached to his faceplate. It can detach, but it's connected by these little rectangular things. Let's see, I had an image for that. Here, bring up this image. You can see these little light blue rectangular things attaching to the side. They can detach too, like, that's more noticeable when he's in the chassis. So you can make it so you can do certain expressions. Okay, and next, I tend to forget this little. He has a little port there on the side. Not really sure what that's for, but it's there. Now on his top and bottom panels, he has this sort of groove that goes down the center. It starts off really thin, where it touches where it gets toward the edge of the panel, and then kind of expands out. And I believe from the other side it gets thin again. Check out my Wheatley plush reference, yeah. The Wheatley plush is also very accurate, by the way. That's also a semi-decent reference. Not so much if you want to see the insides or the way he moves, but, sorry. Anyway, so you have that there, and it kind of dips in toward, dips in like that. You can see up there. So, I have that. And then the one on the bottom. The sides of that center groove there are kind of a light blue. Although I'm not going to be showing the colors on this. This will just be black and white. I think you can figure out the colors yourself. Gotta make sure I get the rest of the gyroscope added there. Okay. Next, what do we want to do next? Oh, let's finish the handles. So his handles are kind of. They're a bit thicker at the, or a bit wider, sorry, at the, where they attach to him. And by the way, they attach in kind of a weird way. Well, not really weird, it makes sense, but, oh no, here, it's on this. You can see kind of like, there's like a small pole that attaches from the handle to his side there. I usually omit that when drawing for simplicity's sake, but I guess I can add that in here. He has a thicker bit in the center of his handle. That's where you would grip. That's where you would hold the handle. I don't know if that's a foam thing or if it's made out of metal. I usually assume it's made out of metal, but there's also the little joints there, the spots on them, the lighter spots. I don't know why I can't think of words right now. Probably because it's almost 12:30 and I should be going to bed soon. Anyway, and then he also has these little things. I don't even know what the purpose of them is. This part here that's attached to the handle, I don't really think that serves any purpose. I usually omit that as well in simpler drawings, but I'll add it in here for the sake of completion. But one problem I frequently run into with the handles is that I tend to draw them the wrong sizes. And I just did that now. Yes, I did. I drew his upper handle too short. Usually I draw the lower handle too short. That's pretty amazing. But yeah, this is why you want to draw it on another layer. So that if you have to correct a mistake like that, and it is very easy to make a mistake on his handles, you don't wind up erasing like his whole face or something, or part of his face. So let's fix that up really quick. Okay. This isn't going to look perfect, but you get back to drawing this bottom handle. But yeah, the handles do show a lot of his emotion. Like just watch him in the games, or through the model viewer, which I might show how to use in a later video. Though I'm sure there's other people who have shown how to use that as well. But the model viewer is an extra little thing if you have the game on Steam. It's a thing that'll allow you to view animations of GLaDOS and Wheatley, and even kind of, at least with Wheatley and the cores anyway, to sort of make your own animations with them. It's pretty cool to see. So, are we done? Did I finish this? I think his upper handle still might be kind of short compared to the lower one, but you get the idea. Usually make inside of the inside of his optic darker so that more emphasis is drawn to just the part of his optic that's not hidden by the aperture. By the, yeah. So, there he is. He's not very happy about something, but there is Wheatley. Again, this is obviously not the only way of drawing him. I'm sure you can find out a way on your own. You might have your own preferred way of drawing Wheatley. You might simplify him. You might draw him in a different, draw his parts in a different order. Honestly, whenever I draw him, I usually draw him like the face and the handles and everything in a different order. But each time, there's no set method. I just thought this might be helpful, and I hope this was a help to you somehow, even though this was a bit of a sloppy tutorial. But if you are watching this and you think I can draw Wheatley better than this stupid lizard, and I could probably make a better tutorial than this lizard, then by all means, go right ahead. I'm sure there are people who could do a better tutorial than I could. But until then, here's my tutorial. So, I hope you found that helpful. I might make a more detailed one later, explaining how his different parts work. I'm not like a mechanical engineer or anything, but I did kind of have to research different parts of him for fanfic purposes. So, alright, I guess I'll cut off this video now. I hope that was helpful to you. Bye, folks.